This is me, Ryan Stevenson, the writer, stuck with a feeling I've lost my way. Hurtling towards a deadline I can't keep, while my mates lead me astray.
It all started, well, what are we on, 2015, so about 2009. And it started with me just in my flat in London with my Mac, just writing. And obviously you start to write, you start to produce something, and then you print it out and you've got it there. And then you've got 100 and whatever pages, it was probably about 150 pages at the time. And you've got to do something with it there because it's just 150 sheets of paper, and in order to make it to a movie, there's a long, long way to go. So I'm not from a film background as such. I didn't go to film school or anything like that. And all of my education came from, I bought about 30 textbooks. I got a ton of content off the internet, audio books, lectures at universities. I just listened to it on the way to work on my iPod. And my education of the craft came from textbooks and lectures and stuff. I've always found the easiest way to do something is if you're going to do it, just do it. So I just started, and then I did everything else in tandem, because once you're into it, it's fun. The first draft to production was about 4 years. You've got a finished product, but at the time I had a finished product and it was just sheets of paper that I'd written myself. My first step was to bring on board my producing partner, Pete Gibbons.
I think my first job when Stephen got me involved was to talk to him about kind of working with the script, knowing the ways to kind of trim the script down. So first thing first was to get the script knocked into a bit more shape so we could start to actually take it to actors. And then after that it was appointing a director. So obviously we got James Markland, who was our director, and he came on with us on the 5-year journey between actually getting the script and completing the film. We
were fortunate that we got a couple of really good actors involved relatively early, and for a long time we were going from meeting to meeting trying to raise finance, but it's not easy. It's one of the hardest parts of the process, is obviously just bringing the money together, because you're asking people to put money into something where if you sit in front of their IFAs or whatever, it's on paper not going to be the best investment. So you have to really convince people that it's a project worth getting involved with, and it's something that could be something special but has other ancillary benefits.
So we raised an amount of capital, and we had that to spend, and there was no overspend. So there was no going to the exec producer and saying we've overspent, or going back to the agency and saying yeah we need a little bit more money. That's the money we had to kind of make it happen on that sort of budget. You know, you're getting people to do favours, so all of the crew were people I've worked with before, or friends of people I've worked with before, getting all of them to work for us below their daily rate that they would earn on a commercial. That's the hardest bit, is kind of pulling together the right crew that can actually bring the script to life.
The crew we had involved were so great in terms of, we have a certain amount of time to film every day, but if you ask them to work on, it's not even a question really, because people are so invested in the project. And that's the type of involvement that you don't get in projects in other industries, I think. So the actual production was about 24 days, but then the actual process to it being a finished movie, from memory, but I would have said it was about 5 to 6 months all in before we saw something that looked like a movie.
I mean, the first time I got the first edit of the film, it arrived, I was working on a job and I was in LA. I was thinking, this is wicked, it's my birthday, we're in LA, got the first edit of my film, this is going to be amazing. I watched it and I nearly cried because it was rubbish. That was a year ago that I first saw the first edit, and I just thought it was terrible, and within a year we've got it out. The moment that we finished the edit and we locked it and I said, it's done, it was massive relief. I was just like, wow, we did it. We set out to do this 6 years ago, and so to actually be able to say, right, that's it, there's my piece, it's on a drive, I'm handing it over to people, I'm handing it to the distribution people, I'm giving it to cinemas. It was a massive relief.
And the first time it really hit me of like, this was worth every ounce of blood and sweat and tears was at the premiere.
And to stand there at the side while everyone's on stage and watching 180 people, and you know, we've got people like Elliot, obviously example, who's in the film. You know, he had his mates Rich and people like that come to the premiere. It's like it was a proper premiere. I was like, that's pretty cool.
So it came out on iTunes a few days after the premiere, and it just flew up the iTunes charts and was a real success on iTunes. But then you've got to do everything else. So then you've got to do the DVD, you've got to do international sales and stuff. And Pete and I are obviously dealing with all that at the moment.
It used to be that you had a physical product that you went out, you bought your cinema ticket, or you bought your DVD, or you bought your CD. Now everything's less physical. It's a lot easier to not realise how much hard work's gone into something. If you go and pick up a CD or a DVD, you kind of go, right, well, there's a physical thing, someone's worked hard to make that, and there's not just like one dude who's made it. It's you appreciate the industry.
Number one aim is to get the investors' money back. You have to do it, and if you don't do it, then you don't do another one. And if people don't pay for content, then movies won't be made, because it's just not possible.
I think for the future, it's going to get harder and harder. You know, the more this culture of kind of just taking something that you haven't paid for with regards to the creative industries grows, the bigger struggle there's going to be. And I think, you know, come 5 years' time, people aren't possibly going to be making films at our level because they think, well, there's no point, there's no return, so they can't get the investment to make it happen.